Beyonce turned down Meghan Markle for, was it Archetypes too?
Actually just shows that these are two of the most out of touch women in the world.
Where everything is through the lens of the media as opposed to, hey, it's me.
Meghan Markle humiliated as podcast numbers tank, and now it's on hold until 2026. Yes, you read that right. The Duchess who once graced magazine covers has now stumbled in the podcasting world, with no one left to blame for the flop but herself.
Deal. I think on that alone, there's no way this will come back because it hasn't performed well.
Archetypes was supposed to be groundbreaking, but instead, it's a cautionary tale wrapped in glitter. So, how will Meghan spin this one?
You just texted me a little bit ago about having a source who told you about one of the most beloved entertainers on the planet.
Her podcast recently, guys, it was peaked at number 2 or something on the Apple iTunes chart. And she made a big post that's like, thank you so much.
What comes to your mind when you hear the name Meghan? Well, it's more like a cautionary tale. Meghan Markle's podcast Archetypes was supposed to be the crown jewel of her post-royal career. Think all flowers, glitter, and gold wrapped up in one perfectly polished package.
I thought this was supposed to be a business podcast. Fitting in is not really necessarily totally the point of a business podcast.
When she signed that jaw-dropping $25 million deal with Spotify back in July 2022, the world collectively leaned in, ready for the Duchess to serve up some serious podcast royalty.
Meghan Markle's podcast has ended its 8-episode run, and there are no plans to release a second season at this point. What a surprise.
The buzz was real. Archetypes promised to smash outdated stereotypes, amplify voices that never got heard, and show Meghan as way more than just the royal who left the castle. It was pitched as a fresh, bold new era of content, something meaningful, authentic, and maybe even a little revolutionary.
We all adore her. And a little ask that came her way via one Meghan Markle.
This was, of course, the podcast that she made with Lemonada Media. It's still unclear, actually, about what money has come from this podcast.
But, well, fast forward to today, and the whole thing feels less like a media revolution and more like a cautionary tale about the dangers of overhyping celebrity projects.
But you're the same.
You're the same.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Instead of breaking the internet, Archetypes quietly stumbled into the Hall of Fame for the biggest podcast flops of recent memory.
But the two of them are the royals of a generation which feels like it's owed, not like it actually owes.
The audience numbers tanked hard, the buzz fizzled out, and what was supposed to be Meghan's shining media comeback ended up more like a cautionary tale on how not to do celebrity branding. If you were hoping for fireworks, you got a damp sparkler instead. What happened to the game changer? Is this just another celebrity cash grab gone wrong?
People should expect the real me in this, and probably the me that they've never gotten to know, certainly not in the past few years.
Spotify hyped the deal as a bold, progressive move for audio content. Meghan, freshly separated from royal duties but still riding a wave of global fascination, was going to use her platform to empower women and break stereotypes. Sounds good? Archetypes was meant to be this inspiring, raw look at the labels society slaps on women and the damage those labels do.
I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
But the reality? A podcast that leaned heavily on celebrity guests who were already loud and famous. The idea of amplifying unheard voices got drowned out by A-list chit-chat that felt, well, recycled. Listeners expecting cutting-edge, fresh perspectives found themselves sifting through platitudes and star power instead.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard. You're complaining about your hard life and you're so privileged. It's just so weird. It's ridiculous.
Behind the scenes, tensions reportedly ran high between Meghan and Spotify's team. Deadlines were missed, pitches rejected, and creative differences turned into full-blown clashes. Some insiders whispered about a lack of hustle, a bold claim given Meghan's high-profile status. Could it be that royal titles don't come with a side of work ethic?
Who's finally now released her long-promised podcast. I am fascinated by Markle. And I know it's in a way that's not healthy.
Podcasting, like any creative endeavor, demands consistency, commitment, and an ability to navigate the grind. Unfortunately, archetypes seem to stumble on all fronts. The podcast was put on indefinite hiatus until 2026, which Meghan's team spun as a strategic pause to regroup and elevate the content. Critics, however, saw it as a graceful exit stage left, a way to quietly step back before the public's disappointment grew even louder.
Guys, I looked yesterday, and we'll look today just to double check. Her show is not even in the top 200 podcasts, and it's been just 6 weeks.
Then came the bombshell from Bill Simmons, Spotify's head of podcast innovation, who publicly called Meghan and Harry grifters. Whether it was a personal jab or a reflection of audience sentiment, it crystallized the growing skepticism surrounding the Sussexes' media ventures. When the head of your platform calls you as grifter, is it really time to strategically pause?
Listening to Markle's first real podcast for Spotify. And I have to say that poor Meghan gave us exactly what she promised in her promo.
The comment echoed the frustration of fans and critics who felt that what was promised was never delivered. And for Spotify, a company investing millions, the partnership felt less like a win and more like a headache.
Like, guys, you don't gotta do this. Please, I'm begging you to stop.
That's why a lot of these celebrities that start these things, they can't keep up. You know, like the Meghan Markle.
Meanwhile, other podcasters are thriving. Joe Rogan, with his long-form, no-holds-barred interviews, continues to dominate charts and capture millions of listeners. Dax Shepard's podcast offers raw, relatable conversations that keep audiences coming back week after week.
Yes, tragically for Meghan Markle, this podcast really does show the real her, and she can't blame journalists this time. I'll play you some of it, but just the timing of this first episode really says so much.
What do they have that Meghan's archetypes doesn't? Aside from loyal fan bases, it boils down to consistency, compelling content, and genuine engagement, not the weight of a $25 million price tag hovering over their heads. If you're with us till Nabayu, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a single detail.
If people want to believe Meghan Markle, that's entirely their right. I don't believe almost anything that comes out of her mouth.
Now, if you think the podcast failure was the only mess Meghan was navigating, think again. Rumor has it that her PR strategy took a dive into aggressive hardball tactics inspired by none other than Stephanie Jones, the queen of scorched earth corporate crisis management. Is Meghan's PR team fueling the fire instead of putting it out? Jones's style might work in high-stakes corporate battles, but when applied to Meghan's carefully curated image, it clashed spectacularly. Over-polished spin and manufactured authenticity didn't resonate. Instead, they alienated fans and gave rise to more yikes moments than ye's queens.
They did not record a single word for Spotify all last year, and this one too, until now.
Word on the street is Meghan has a habit of clashing with everyone from Spotify execs to Hollywood insiders, and yes, even members of royal households. Her reported obsession with control and perfectionism has ruffled feathers in some of the most powerful circles.
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
That is so beautiful.
No.
She never stops whining.
No.
It's one thing to demand creative control, it's another to burn bridges in the process. Spotify, for example, allegedly grew weary of missed deadlines and diva-like demands. Former royal staff reportedly have their own list of grievances. Hollywood insiders? Many are holding their breath, skeptical of Meghan's next move. When you've burned so many bridges, how do you expect to build a career? Here's a juicy nugget for you. Whispers suggest Meghan's PR team might be eating itself alive. Allegedly, even her closest advisors have been strategically leaking damaging stories to protect themselves.
He lost at the trial court level on this push to make the British royal family pay for his security when he goes to the UK.
Here's an unavoidable paradox in Meghan and Harry's story. They've built a brand on royal fame while simultaneously criticizing the institution that gave them that fame. It's like hating your day job, but cashing your paycheck every week.
It's nonsense.
But if you're a duchess, don't you have a cook? Isn't this the problem with it? That it's not, in fact, real, that living in an exclusive...
They want the glamour and global platform without the scrutiny and obligations. Sorry. But that's not how monarchy or most things in life work. The result? A complicated, often contradictory public image that leaves people wondering what they really stand for.
For kids, that's fun, so many good songs, and I've become that mom where I'm like sitting around with friends and I start singing like, Tyrannosaurus, that's the chorus, Tyrannosaurus. I was like, what am I singing? Oh my gosh, I'm singing Storybook.
Then there's the mixed messaging on privacy. Meghan and Harry plead for privacy, yet sign deals with Netflix and Spotify and release tell-all memoirs that sometimes feel like family therapy, aired for the world. And then there's the revolving door staff situation. Gossip columns are filled with rumors of micromanagement and impossible demands, making Archewell's office culture sound more like the Devil Wears Prada than a non-profit.
And the problem is, you realize these are the types of people Meghan Markle is surrounding herself with, and none of them are prepared to ever give her a dose of reality.
Meghan's acting background should have been her secret weapon. Delivering lines, connecting with an audience, making moments feel authentic, that's the bread and butter of acting. But here's the twist. Acting can teach you how to perform, but it doesn't guarantee you can be real. Meghan's podcasts and public appearances often felt rehearsed, like she was reciting a script rather than sharing a genuine moment. Audiences want raw, imperfect moments, not polished performances.
I think that, as we've spoken about, this show has completely underperformed. It did not really appear on the Spotify charts.
Eventually, the audience got tired. Whether it was the contradictions, mixed messages, or just the sheer volume of drama, the fairy tale sheen faded. The Hollywood to royalty narrative lost its sparkle, leaving behind a sense of been there, done that. With archetypes on hold until 2026, Meghan faces a tough climb back. The podcast deal, which began with so much promise, ended with a quiet whimper. Meghan Markle's journey from royal darling to podcast cautionary tale is a fascinating study in the complexities of celebrity, media, and identity. Her pursuit of perfection and control, while understandable, has often backfired, leaving her brand overexposed, overmanaged, and underwhelming. As we inch closer to 2026, the year of no excuses, the real question isn't if Meghan will try again. It's whether anyone will still care. If you want to see more no-nonsense takes like this, hit that like button and subscribe because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.